Make your way to your seats.
Showtime!
Please make your way to your seats. The show is about to begin.
Showtime!
Let the magic begin.
We've been talking about terms of service for things like Adobe and what they're doing with you can't cancel, there's a bunch of things you can't do. They own everything you do. They can do whatever they want. They can sell it. They can, repurpose it, train their AI.
Yeah. Have they updated? Before we jump into this, but have they updated anything? I haven't.
Nothing to anyone's satisfaction.
Okay.
So the issues still exist.
Okay.
And we're waiting for to see if they're going to have more of a response.
Okay.
So Disney Plus, the streaming service, has terms of service that says you can't sue Disney for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is kind of nuts because when we say you can't sue Disney for anything, which, sounds okay, well, Disney Plus, why would you sue Disney? Well, we've got a specific case that's going on right now where a woman died at the park because of allergies that they specifically asked about. They talked about they were assured, et cetera, et cetera. The husband is suing the park. But because the lady who died in the park was a Disney Plus subscriber, they can't sue Disney.
That is so sketchy. That is so this just goes back to say the stuff that is snuck into these terms of service are just absolutely nuts. I think there was one point where there was with WhatsApp and Facebook, there was something with their terms of service. Like, these companies are trying to sneak things in, and this is crazy that it sets a concerning precedent that other companies could adopt to block lawsuits. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's clear Disney is trying to argue because the husband of the woman who died from food allergy last year had a Disney Plus trial subscription, not even a paid subscription, a trial. He can't sue Disney for damage because she died in the park due to their negligence.
Yeah.
So,
this just highlights the need for oversight on binding arbitration clauses in terms of service.
That talks about, it was about allergies due to stuff in her meal. And the back and forth, they requested the allergy. She had severe allergy, made a big deal out of it. The meal came, it didn't have the allergy free thing on it. They asked again and they said it was great. So that's, the scenario. I don't want to get into specific details. I just want to say that, they can't even, Disney's arguing you can't even bring the lawsuit to court because you had a trial on Disney Plus. So if there's a reason not to subscribe to Disney, I can't imagine if you want to go to the park or do anything. They opened up their new Tatiana's Bayou, and it's been nothing but a disaster. It's been shut down. They closed it the first day. They evacuated. It's been crazy. Can you imagine something happens on one of the rides and you get hurt? Oh, sorry. You signed up to a beta free version of Disney. You got a free version of Disney Plus with some other thing that you bought, so you can't sue us anymore. And Disney Plus has nothing to do with what's going on here, right? It's a streaming service. How can this possibly be legal? We're gonna have to see the FTC react to this like they have with Adobe, and Adobe's going to have to change because they're being sued 6 ways from Sunday for the U.S. government.
I'm surprised that Bob Iger allowed this in. He seemed like he was one of those CEOs that was a decent CEO. But again, obviously, looking at the bottom line, covering companies' asses. This is just nuts, though. This is just, this is scary because this, and we've said it, this allows Disney to avoid accountability for negligence and misconduct and more. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and we got to stop. We can't let companies get away with this. This is
No.
kind of the thing, right? If if we continue to let Adobe use your stuff wherever they want, resell your stuff, give it to whoever, and we let other companies do it, and you can't cancel. You sign up for a month and say, "Ah, this isn't for me," and you cancel. Well, you got to pay for the rest of the year. Sorry, dude. No one told you that, even though it's
Yeah.
almost impossible to find the way to cancel. And then this stuff comes around, and Disney's actively in court claiming this is a defense. It's not like a hypothetical situation where it's just one clause. They're in court with a death saying you can't sue us because you had a trial subscription to Disney Plus, even though, you know, we're at fault for your wife's death.
Yeah. And there was like this just again distances corporations from accountability, right? There was something else that happened this week that just makes me think of there was a Supreme Court case that was that overturned something that makes things even more lax for corporations. I can't remember what it was though.
They overturned a bunch of things. The one I was interested in was the Chevron deference.
Yes, that one.
But you know, this is we get into politics. Just like it's one of those things that I'm happy they overturned the Chevron deference. Other people aren't, because what it does is it changes everything, right? For a lot of these things, people who are getting sued or had to follow certain rules. Well, what that means is that the legislative branch and Congress still make the laws. Not we can't outsource that to some third party we give stuff to, so that you don't have.
I thought it removed some accountability for corporate.
Probably only because those third parties had implemented rules and laws that no longer apply, and someone else is going to have to pick up those rules.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'll have to look into it more. I saw a headline. I probably saw a TikTok video on it and didn't do a deep dive into it.
The concept was things like, let's just say, I don't know for sure that the EPA is a third party agency. Let's just say it is.
Yeah.
They make rules and laws and fines, and go out and they police it. They make the laws and police and enforce it. And it has nothing to do with what Congress or the judicial branch want. They just go and do it. So if they are a third party thing, that stuff is now going to be challenged because they're not allowed to do that.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
So good and bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's just changes things. There's a lot of things that were overturned. And again, a lot of people don't like it because look, all these rules have to change. Now with new Supreme Court justices or new modes of thinking or new political sway, we will get different rulings than we had in the past, and therefore the rules are going to change, whether that's good or bad.
Yeah.
And you talk about Iger. I think Iger, back to this, was covered for a lot. He seemed to buy a lot of stuff, and Disney has not done a good job maintaining profitability. They've lost billions and billions in the streaming world. Almost all their acquisitions they've lost money on. So it definitely doesn't seem to be the right creative lead for Disney, whatever that might mean, because it hasn't been doing well since at least.
They pulled back a lot of projects. They're rejigging the MCU, like they're doing a bunch of things, right? But I think it's happening with all of these streaming services too, because now you have every broadcaster has a streaming service, so they're pulling back their content and things like that. So what was a lucrative looking business model is looking less and less looking less and less lucrative. And if you don't have the content, then you're going to lose the people. But at the same time, it costs money to do that content, and it costs money to maintain that content and allow it to be on the streaming services. So it's like it's almost like a catch-22.
Streaming has killed the film industry. Killed it. For a number of reasons. One, people don't know how to do serial television. They come from a movie thing and they create a 8 or 10 episode movie. It doesn't have natural breaks, doesn't have natural flow. Every episode doesn't have a natural arc. So you start to lose interest unless you're binge watching these things.
Yes.
We also we are now at a generation of writers that are what I'm going to call the TikTok generation of writers, where it's funny dialogue, quirky scene, go, 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 go. We don't do character development. We don't do slow. We don't fall in love with the characters like we used to. It's just scene, 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 scene. And they don't necessarily flow together, but you're seeing the characters in a certain light and moving forward. So they don't really know how to develop a mystery, develop plot, develop characters, because they don't care to, because they want that 8-second attention span and then move on to something else. So when we do get good cinema, people turn up for it. Apparently, like Inside Out is doing really well.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
The
new Bad Boys movie is doing really well.
Yeah, that surprises me. I thought it would tank. Yeah, I thought it would tank, you know.
What? No. I think, honestly, Bad Boys 1 and 2, I can't remember the third one, but they were phenomenal. They were really well done. They developed.
I enjoyed the first couple. The third one was you know, but also with Will Smith, his bloom is well off the rose. Does anybody take him for a masculine guy anymore after all this? How long's it been since the last one? Are they still relevant? How old they are? Can we believe them as action stars? But they pulled it off. Hey, look, it turns out to be a hit. Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
But you know, it's surprising. A lot of people like the Fall Guy, but it's not doing well. You know, so it's a question of it. I think they're having a hard. Hollywood is struggling. If you just do some Googling, they're struggling. And if you want to take it from a nutshell, it's because streaming killed DVD sales, right? And DVD sales was a whole other chunk of money that they used to be able to rely on.
Yeah.
That you come out with a movie, 6 months later, you come out with DVD box sets and get another, you know, almost the level of the box office, maybe.
Editions, all those other things. Yeah.
You don't get that anymore. So no one wants to take a risk on the movies that are $100 or $200 million, because you have to make so much money back on the box office, because you're getting less. You have to understand movies get less than 50 cents back on North American dollar on the box office, because the cinemas take so much and distributors take so much. It all works out. But so they have to make, you know, usually around 3 times the amount of the budget to break even when you start doing marketing costs and stuff. So when you look at, hey, they're retooling the MCU, that's great. But Captain America 4, the budget now looks like it's going to be over $400 million, and there's no way that's going to make you money.
No.
And they've done so many reshoots, all the reviews of the people who've seen it, like people walked out of the viewing of it for the thing, the Disney employees, and there's like, it was so bad. So we'll have to see. So everyone's suffering. And with stuff like this, with, you know, these terms of service with Disney Plus and whatnot, that you can't sue them for anything, even if they kill you, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone needs to stand up and take notice of this stuff. And again, not they might do this like Adobe might do some things. They're actually using this as a defense in court with the death that they're liable for. Like, okay.
And that's the only reason why it's come to light, right? Too.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
And that's what I mean. Like, we're not crying wolf and all that stuff. It's happening now, and you need to be. So it's just nuts.
It's crazy. It's scary. Crazy. Yeah.